sharing the screen. Super. In fact, I was actually just thinking I might not know what I'm doing here. Actually, I'm so pleased with progress, but I've worked for like 2 days without restarting the server, and I realized that I'm in the situation where I can't compile the server anymore because the CLJC files, I'm just not thinking through kind of like which should be. There's things that can only run in ClojurScript, and I don't want to stub them out. So actually, can I show you what I've got, and maybe we can talk through this? So I think let's see here. I was actually going to switch a whole bunch of things to just CLJS files, but then, okay, let's start with where the problem is. It's the RAD report. Oops. By the way, so happy with progress. This is purely for fun, although I think it's been a long week and mental acuity is not so hot anymore. So it's in the body layout, body items. This thing calls, like, these two things are actually just React. React factories.
Oh, right. So you've got a CLJS only
there. Yeah. Right. And I also call this thing. This is from the reframe app I wrote. IO, I think, has some. These are almost all JavaScript stuff relating to DOM. And then there's probably one other. Trello.io, also just JavaScript. So I'm doing things like, DOM things. There's Ajax calls going on. So how do I like, what is the thought process of, like, why do you do CLJC files?
Well, I mean, Fulcro in general is attempting to be a solution that can run in the JVM or the JavaScript, and it isn't tied specifically to React. So everything, is CLJC for that reason.
Yeah.
Now, when you're doing just a front end thing with CLJS, you can certainly make all your UI React specific things just CLJS.
Yeah.
And then, pull in all the CLJC things. As soon as you start making your thing CLJC, the thing you're buying from that is if you kind of mix things that could be used on the JVM side or the ClojurScript side, you just have access to it. You don't have to think about it.
Right.
And so generally in my projects, I very often do just write everything in CLJC because then I don't have to worry about, but you do then have to do things like in these cases, like where, you have to do a conditional require of that tweet thing. And then in the places you've used it, do a conditional usage of those. Right. So that it'll compile for the CLJ side.
Right. And Kurt's thinking through like the RAD stuff, those really need to be CLJC so that the resolver stuff gets picked up. Is that right?
No, the resolver stuff is in the atomic adapter in just CLJ actually. Because those are just path on server side, like in a database plugin, those are just CLJ. But yeah, attribute and all those other things, those have to be usable on both sides. So absolutely, those need to be CLJC. So really, this just gets you into trouble when you're doing front end, right? You're doing front end only code here. Trello card might as well be a CLJS file. Trello form might as well be a CLJS file. Like most of those files can just be CLJS because that's the only place you use them.
Got it.
And now the reason, so the fact that your server is trying to load Trello card CLJC, why is it requiring that? Maybe you've just got a require statement in your server that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But of course, this file's still not going to, you probably just did reload all and it saw it was CLJC, so it loaded it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that can happen.
Okay,
so yeah, you may have to fix this file no matter what. As long as it's CLJC, it needs to be compilable in CLJ, and currently it isn't.
Right. So let's see here. So these two things, that's interesting. And by the way, I was really intrigued by what the membrane guy did. Just the notion that you might be able to create a Fulcro thing in a JVM Skia thing. I thought it was like pretty freaking exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how exciting it is. Somebody would really have to go to length to develop a good rendering solution.
It was hard. But
yeah,
you got some grand.
Because really the general model we're trying to do in Fulcro and a lot of these libraries, frankly, is you want a pure rendering story where you can pretend like you're rendering every frame every time.
Right.
And the underlying rendering system does the proper things to the mutable, UI code in the background to deal with that. So without some sort of virtual user interface, like VDOM, virtual interface model, where you can keep track of what you did last time and what you did this time, so you can diff it and then modify those mutable UI things. If you don't have that, it's probably not going to work well
Right.
with Fulcro, as far as Fulcro sending a thing telling you, hey, you need to re-render. I think you need to slurp one more there.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. So what's
and
this?
Then
IO Trello.
You need to scroll down anywhere you've used the namespace tweet or IO in this namespace and make those conditional as well.
Right. By the way, I'm just delighted beyond words how I am. My proficiency with JavaScript is actually quite poor. The fact that I could actually so quickly take something and take a React component and wrap it inside of a the fact that I could even do this blew me away. The fact that
I see.
Yeah, it's just astonishing to me, Tony. It's really it's been magical last couple of days. Okay, cool. So
I just go to line 38 and I just put the conditional around that. You're not trying to do server-side rendering. You might as well just comment out the whole body of the thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not comment it out, but conditionally compile. Not there. Line 38. You still need the component, I guess.
I still need the component. Oh,
but yeah, you can just wrap that in a conditional compile, and that'll get all of the stuff that's questionable.
Great. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Where else have you referred to this guy? Is there anything else that's cards?
Maybe, TIO. TIO.
But that's all conditional in CLJS now.
Right.
Try loading just this file. File not found, compiling. Yeah, stretch that out. We're missing some of the error message or something.
Oh, wait a minute. No. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Is that from some other file now?
It's in the query.
It's in the query. Oh. Yeah, that's a pain. Oh, no. You need UI tweet because that's a UI file. Keep that one. Put that one back in the. Oh, but you've written it only in CLJS. I see. So yes, you are going to have to.
Actually, hang on. Let's undo this one.
Not that one.
Oh,
the tweet one is the one you want to undo. And I think the thing to do is to convert that file to CLJC and fix it.
Okay.
Right? Because you need that namespace. You might as well make the tweet CLJS as CLJ. Just right click on it and convert it to CLJ.
Got it. You are seeing things so much more clearly than me. Everything's kind of looking the same for me right now.
This guy, you can do the conditional compile on the React specific thing.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of bled into everything here.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And the tweet embed UI, that needs to be, just do a conditional compile of that and just set the CLJS side, not of the def. You still need the def to be there, but the value of the def can be pulled out. Yeah.
And what is that
what is it? Having a problem with? Yeah, stretch that out so we don't have to keep.
Yeah.
And why don't you turn on a wrap on that toolbar so we can actually.
Nice. Macro create element.
Line 32, DOM div.
Oh,
Why would DOM div now not work? Try reloading the namespace again.
how about we just
Oh, DOM is a conditional. Yeah, you could just conditionally do that. You currently only have the client side DOM required. You remember for DOM, you need a two-sided thing. Yeah, that wrap unfortunately does that.
Whew. Okay.
Now pop back to the other one and see if it loads.
Oh,
Oh, obviously it did.
Yeah, being clear-headed about this definitely helps. That's that's nice, Tony. Okay, guys, that's great. Okay, so I was just so this
for your
works.
particular app, it would probably make more sense for these UI files to just be all CLJS, so you don't end up in that.
Okay, maybe I'll tackle some time later. Okay, so I think. Okay, awesome. So, since we talked, I'm so delighted that, the functionalities come along. There's a rendering cards, rendering, I can actually, it actually renders YouTube videos inside and tweets. And I'm just couldn't be happier.
You're just playing.
Yeah, that's great. This works. I'm still okay. So here's my wish list. I got next page keyboard accelerators for previous next page, and I got stuck on thinking through kind of how to do like a current card. I was trying to figure out where do I put the current card, the selected card, and then how do I cascade that down to the rad report into the card element thing that I saw, and so there's some misthinking I'm doing.
If right now the report is doing all the rendering for you.
Yep.
And let me think about this. Oh, there's my timer going off. Give me
right on.
Give me a pause here.
Yes, do not burn the pie.
All right, be right back.
Right on.
All right, parallel pie making in progress.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, just to maybe put one thing into your head. So I was thinking, right? I just make a UI selected card here. And then I was like, okay, how do you get that all the way down into the component 3 levels down?
Is this the root? So
this is the root, yeah.
The root, like that's the actual root of the application?
No.
Okay, so you can always use, and this, because it's kind of a singleton, I mean, it's a little like it is supposed to be a localized thing to that list, right? Right. You're navigating that list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And you're also kind of trying to do some. So let me ask you this: as you're going down, let's say you're using the J and K to move through the list of time. How do you go to the next page?
I will go shift, shift alligator,
greater than
okay. Listen, yeah.
But if they hit K or does it say they hit J and go all the way to the bottom? If they hit J one more time, are you going to go to the top of the next page?
Maybe. If it's considered, in fact, I was considering looking into the RAD report form, right, and seeing kind of like what, right, is it the last element of the page, and then just go next to the next page, and then go to the first item.
Right. So remember that all the render plugin is doing for you is taking the props that are being passed to the component, and running them through some functions that have a default rendering look. That's really all they're doing.
Yes.
There is a function that rendering plugin has for rendering that kind of that top of the thing. Where the controls are and the pagination control or whatever, but you don't even have to use that, right? What page you're on is a prop that comes in. So if you want, given that you're probably also going to want to mess with the scroll, right? Because if you're getting J and you go down to a card that's not visible, don't you want to scroll that into view?
Right.
So now you're getting to the point where you probably need a React ref to the component that stands for that card, so you can find the actual DOM element to then modify the scroll. Right.
To scroll to top or whatever, like that thing. So
you're messing with a lot of different advanced kind of functionality, and of course the built-in render doesn't know about any of that. So you're probably moving towards a situation where you're going to want to take control of rendering in that report. That doesn't mean you have to take control of any of the logic of the loading or anything like that, right? You've seen how to trigger the events that tell the state machine how to update the details of that report, right? There's an event for going to the next page. There's an event for going to the previous page. There's an event for running the report. So, what I personally would do is I'd augment the query of the report, because there's a row inclusions and there's a base top level query inclusions that you can put on the report. So you can add attributes to the query.
So in fact, I did.
Oh yeah, that's what you got there. UI selected card. Perfect. Yeah,
which
I do that.
Does show up. I can confirm that.
But you're doing a link query for that. I wouldn't do a link query. I'd actually put UI selected card without a link query right here. I'd put UI selected card on this component, because this is the component that cares about which one's selected.
Okay, stand by.
Right. Exactly. I wouldn't push that out into some other part of the application. That's not going to compose well or refactor well. Or
I think that was my desperate attempt to. Oh no, it works. Okay, great. Okay, that also works. I did not know that. Okay, so that now gets cascaded down.
Who's setting selected card?
It is this guy's parent. So the UI selected card I'd set to ABC, and it's ABC.
But that's the parent.
Oh, who selects it? Oh yeah, I have not established that yet.
Right, because
it doesn't load.
The reason you're seeing ABC has nothing to do with what you just changed. TrelloMain's printing ABC or something, right? Oh, you didn't reload the components. So that component query hasn't updated yet, probably. This is why you're still seeing that.
Oh, okay. Let's,
would be my guess, because it shouldn't be working right now.
I think it is.
Well, I'm not sure where you're pulling that data from. I mean, selected card, you've initialized it to ABC, and you're probably printing it in main at the bottom.
Okay, I might be doing something bad here, but so I'm passing down the props.
Oh, no, don't do that. Never do that. That's an invalid thing to do. You could use computed for that sort of thing if you wanted to, but don't do that. That's not what you want anyway.
Okay, got it. Okay, and right, and then just to complete the thought, right? How do I get? Can I pass a computed thing into body item? Right. So somehow I need to get down into that component. So is my thinking.
That component, in this particular case, could do one of two things. But okay, so let's take one thing at a time. If you're going to take over rendering altogether, I would just start with that as the base assumption. I'm going to take over rendering. If I'm going to take over rendering, then I can pass computed props to that card, because I'm going to be calling the function that renders it.
What does that mean, to take over rendering?
You give list cards a body and spell out what you want to render. You're actually gonna like this because it's not hard.
Okay, all right, good. All right, now because my first reaction was fear, Tony. All right, okay.
Well, it's just props. So look at go to Fulcro Inspect.
Let's go to Fulcro Inspect. Yep. And
click on the list guy here. So in the report, there's going to be a report/ID, a rad report/ID. Yep. There you go. It's up 3. There you go. Right. Open that guy up. Find your list cards guy. Okay, yep. There are the props you're going to receive. Right? If busy is true, you should show a loader. You could ignore the cache. And in the controls, you're going to get a control. And the control, if you go look at control ID, Trello list ID, I'm not sure why that's got that in. Oh, because Trello list ID is the value or a property name that it's controlling. Right? So that bottom one, you're going to get those properties, right? There's the current value.
Yeah.
So that's what you would put in an input. And that is the thing that you would update if you change it. In fact, there's an event you can trigger to change that value. So you don't even have to know necessarily where that's at. But you're going to receive that as a prop. So scroll back down. Current page says you're on page 1. When you send events to go next page, previous page, that sort of thing, current page is going to change. Page count, that's how many pages there are, right? So that lets you render your control.
By the way, a quick thing. So when I add a query inclusion, how come that doesn't show up in here?
Because you haven't put any value in that prop yet. This is data, that's query. So that prop is currently getting nil. There is nothing in the database until you put it there.
Actually, I feel like that's an important concept and I'm not getting it.
Well, currently there is no selected card. You've not done anything to select the card. Why would it appear in state?
Because I missed you. I'm not supposed to pass down. I'm not supposed to merge it into the.
Right, you merged it into props. You didn't put it in state.
Yeah, right. Got it. Yes, that's right.
And then the current rows versus loaded data. Loaded data is all of the cards. Current rows is the current page of things that you're supposed to be rendering.
Right. So
and those will come in as individual card rows. So here, do this for me. Scroll down to the in the this list cards to the body of the list cards.
The body of the list cards. The body of the list cards. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you've already got something there, right? So you're saying render layout, otherwise blah. Well, instead of render layout, let's put a div there.
Okay. Actually, and so where will the selected card live? Will it live here?
Yeah, it's going to live on this component. Why wouldn't it?
It will live on this component.
That's the component that cares about which card is selected. So
yeah. Okay.
Why not put it here?
Okay, good. All right, I'm with you.
Comment out that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So just do a map of UI card. I assume you may not have a factory for that yet, but we're going to make one.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Right. This will be the factory for your
body
card. Yeah, card/UI card. There you go. Perfect. Space. Current rows. And then in the props destructure. No, just current rows is a symbol.
Okay.
Oh, you've already destructured them. That's not a symbol, that's a keyword. There you go.
No.
Yeah. Save that. Okay, see the layout changed a little bit because we took rad rendering out of it, but your cards are still showing. But you don't have a header anymore.
Okay.
Rad's not rendering it for you. That's what I mean by taking control of rendering. That's it.
Actually,
that's all you got to do.
I'm actually a little bit in disbelief. It's like, it looks somewhat familiar. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Now, let's inside of that div that you just made, right before the map, let's put a DOM button.
DOM button.
Yep. And make a map of props.
Make a map of
just a map. Put
props.
A map there.
Map.
Yeah. No. A literal hash. Open curly brace, close curly brace.
Yeah.
And then put a string label on this button out after the map. After the map, put like next page. We're going to make a button with an
Yep.
on-click handler that says next page. That's
Okay.
what I want to do.
Okay. Right. Okay. Got it. Yes. Roger.
Let's put the let's put an on-click handler on that.
All right. I can do that. On click.
Yep. And what we're going to do in that function that you're going to give that, we don't care about the event, of course, is we're going to say UISM trigger.
UISM trigger.
Little lowercase trigger, exclamation point, this. And then you're going to say comp get ident of this, because
this.
Yeah, exactly. The state machine ID is what goes there, and the state machine ID for RAD report is the ident of the report. That's what I use as the ID. That makes it easy. So we're going to trigger an event on this guy, and then the next thing you give it is the event name. So you're going to say :event / next - page, I think it is. Okay, save. Oh, do you have a next page though? Are there enough cards on this one to need a next page?
Okay, that's astonishing.
Right. That's it. And then if you want to know whether or not that button's enabled or disabled, you look in the props, and there's a parameters list that tells you how many pages there are and what page you're on. So you just do a little comparison logic. Am I on the last page? If so, don't show next page.
Right.
It's as easy as that.
Okay. Just for.
Sure. It's probably previous page, my guess. I tend to spell things out.
Okay.
No. You just look at the state machine. If you jump to the RAD report namespace.
Yep. Prior page.
Oh. What were you just looking at?
Oh, a mutation I wrote.
Oh, you wrote a mutation for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you went ahead. You had already looked.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
Okay.
Right. So now you're in complete control of rendering what that looks like. And now you can do whatever the heck you want. You've got UI current selected card. You do a mutation to set selected card. You hook up your whatchamacallums, your keyboard shortcuts on entry. Now, this guy, are you using routing to get here? You're not. You're just starting it. So the routing stuff's not being used. You can set a component didMount handler on this. It's just a React component. And
like
RAD doesn't use that. Yep.
Like here?
Component didMount. That you're in a defsc.
Yeah, wow.
Right. The ones you can't override are the ones it uses, and I don't use any of the React lifecycle ones. So so here, if you want to install your keyboard shortcuts, however you were doing that, do it the exact same way you've been doing everywhere else.
Cool. Wait a minute. So select a card, it would be, you would set it in the initial state here, or where would you set the, if this is where
there is no selected card when you first enter.
Yeah. So where do you set the,
I mean, this would be a reasonable place to do it if you want to just set it to the first, if it's unset, run a mutation that sets it to the first card in the current rows.
So stand by.
Right, because X is going to be this, and you can call comp props on this to get the props that has current rows in it. Grab the first of the current rows.
And you're installing a UI selected card at this ident.
At this ident. Yeah, exactly. That would just be a set value of this UI selected card ID of the card.
Wait, I'll say that again. I think I heard what you said, but I'm not sure.
M/set value exclamation point this, right?
Wow. Oh God, it's that easy. This.
:UI. Of course, X is this in this particular case.
All right. Thank you.
And then it's going to be whatever you have to pull out of, like if you're going to have to do a let, and okay, you could do that, sure. And it doesn't look like you've got that namespace pulled in.
So
that's not going to unmount and mount. You have to actually go somewhere where that component's not on screen. There you go. Yeah, so now.
Oh, wow.
UI select a card. There you go. Now, I wouldn't do it that way personally.
Yeah, not in component mount.
I've told you this story so I can tell you another. So this is why I was harping on you. You should really understand UI state machines because it's going to bring a lot of power to exactly what you're trying to do here. Right? So a UI state machine.
Not today.
Not today.
Yes, I listen.
That UI state machine is just a map.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a derived state machine out of the existing state machine, you can just make a def state machine, use the existing state machine and associate in your own new events that do things. And so then you can just say trigger on this guy, your new event, and have it do your new thing. Like next card, previous card.
Yeah.
Right. And have it track that.
Yeah.
And you can override the initialization routine to call the original initialization routine and then also add in, and go ahead and pick. Actually, you wouldn't do that. You'd do it on the after load, right? You'd find the part in the state machine that runs right after it loads and it does the sorting and the filtering and whatever. And you just add a stage into that says, and reset the selected card to the first one. And so then here in the defsc report, you say ro/machine and point it at your state machine instead of the default one. And now you've got this customized operational behavior.
Okay, that's very compelling.
It's super compelling. Because otherwise you're going to be hacking these external mutations to the report, which is fine. You can make a next card and a previous card mutation. They know the ident of the thing. So it's no big deal.
Right.
You can do it.
I gotcha. But not today. Okay, now I got to bring the filter form back.
The filter.
The
input. If you look at the props. Print the props to the log. Not from there because that's denormalized. Let's look at the sorry, that's normalized. Let's look at the denormalized props. Just go in the body there and print them out or whatever.
Props. And how come this isn't the 5 megabyte map that caused that component error in the serialization error? What was that passing?
I mean, you are going to get a lot of crap in props there because it's got all of the rows.
But
so if you were on a list that had a lot of cards in it with a lot of detail, then this would be huge.
I think okay. Okay, it is here. I'm looking for
right to me.
Current rows.
Right, and so you see the card.
Uh-huh.
You also see UI controls.
Yep.
Right, with a control ID, the current value. Right, so that control is the control you're interested in rendering.
Yeah.
And I think, see, I'm a little rusty myself. There we go. Yeah. If you look at the RAD controls namespace, so I split controls into a separate concern.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit of cards, but see that they're at the very top, UI controls.
Yep.
And then there's also a UI parameters. So UI current rows of the cards you're supposed to be currently rendering.
Yep.
Scroll on down.
Yep.
And then there's UI parameters where you have the sort parameters, right? Which way it's currently sorted.
Yep.
The selected row. Oh, that's right. Actually, come to think of it, I forgot about that. RAD reports support the idea that you might want to select a row. So that's already something. That's already something you could use. You don't have to make a UI selected card. It's just the selected row and an index.
I saw that, but then it's interesting that you. Okay, so but then how do I?
So there will be an event for that. I
Yeah.
forgot I did that. If you look at the state machine, there will be an event for picking a particular row.
Roger.
And you can just look at the props to see what row you're on, and what row you're on is good enough for figuring out which card to highlight, right? You don't need to know the ID of the card.
So, and then I would pass that to the body item control, right?
No, you could pass a Boolean of are you selected, right? Because the parent's going to know whether or not the selected row index matches the row that's being rendered, right? So you just do a map indexed, and when that's equal to the selected row, you pass true to the child as a computed prop. Yep.
I saw that. Okay, so maybe that seems very promising. And so in the RAD report, there was a filter input. Where does that also live in this area?
Scroll up. The filter input that you're talking about is the card. Oh, I see. Yeah, that was the list ID. How did you make the filter? Was that just an extra input that you gave it?
Yes, it was a filter name. I copied it from account.
Okay. Then the controls should have that at the top.
Okay, I see the controls.
No, scroll up in the props that you printed in the JavaScript console.
Yeah. So it should be called
up.
Okay.
There.
Where?
No, that's UI controls. See, now you said this one was local. So if that one's local, yeah, scroll down. I don't remember how I correlate those, but it'll be in there.
Okay, somewhere in here is
current rows, filter rows, current page count. There, no marker by ID. Keep going up. Parameters, selected cards. I don't remember how the inputs get in there. Well, that's not really gonna. Yeah, we're going to the Fulcro Inspect. Where is that value?
We just filter name, filter. Oh, that's so. Does it only appear when this is active? Or,
so it is in UI parameters. Go back to the rendering it the other way. Maybe it just hadn't had a value on it yet, so it wasn't showing up yet.
Yeah.
I need to go check the pie again in a second.
Yeah.
It's all puffy.
Congratulations.
It's not quite done.
I've managed to screw this up. I'm not seeing anything.
That's see current rows, list not set, and you picked one?
Yeah.
And you got render layout this. Did it compile? Is it?
Yep. Wow. Hang on. Just what did I do?
Oh, the DOM P at the bottom. You're in a div. It only renders the last thing. So that was...
Wait a minute. So
it still says list not set though. Oh, no, it was in a DOM. Okay, that's all right. No, that's okay. Why would there not be a sequence of current rows? Yeah, it's empty. Is your server screwing up or something? Current rows is definitely empty. Is Trello not responding?
Or maybe it's an, I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that render.
I potentially could have deleted lists. Oh, that's interesting.
Look at Fulcro Inspect at the network tab.
Oh wait, something else is happening here. Control list.
That's an old one.
Sorry, you were saying list is empty.
I'm saying look at the Fulcro Inspect tab.
Yep.
Go to the network subtab of Fulcro Inspect. Clear that.
Yes.
Go somewhere that should load some cards.
Yep.
That's the lists. Now click on all. Right, they give you the lists. Those obviously loaded. Cards. What did that return?
A filter.
Oh, you set the filter, and then you got rid of the so go back and
okay.
Yeah, so you should always render layout. I think it's a bad idea to.
Actually, hang on.
Right, because render layout is rendering the filter control. So you either need to render the filter control so people can edit it, but you need to not stop rendering the filter control if there's nothing in there, because that just creates this bug.
Right, but I am rendering the layout.
No, you're not. Rows are empty because the filter filtered them out.
Oh.
so now the whole filter control is going to disappear. Right. I think what you want is a div that renders the layout, and also if there's no rows, shows a paragraph of list not set, select a list. Right. You want both, or you always want that one. Yeah. Yep. And it more like a when not seek current rows, show that paragraph. Right. And now you can fix your filter.
I see. Okay, got it. Let's nice. Okay. Right. So I guess what did I learn? I learned that the filter text was in here. It's a filter name.
So it's just if you say local true, it just becomes a local UI parameter. The literal value of filter name is just right there in UI parameters.
Right. So I would just if I'm guessing that I make another input box and set the value.
Yep. Set the value to that and do an m set value of. Well, you can't do it with m set value, but there's an event you can run on the state machine to set a parameter's value.
Oh.
So you just trigger that event and say update the. Yeah, that's straightforward.
Okay. Got it. All right. So you are recommending. Let's see here.
And then do a pretty print of the props. So you can see the denormalized stuff that's actually coming to you.
Yeah, I swear to God, didn't I do that?
You did, and I think it got deleted.
Oh, props.
And now that you've set it to something, it should be in the props. You should see it in UI parameters.
Right there. Okay.
Right. So that's what you'll pull out and put as the value of an input. And then you'll have to look at the state machine's definition to see what event you're supposed to trigger to update that guy, but just do it all through the events.
Right. You're saying put it here, but really the UI state machine trigger.
Yeah.
Filter of the value. Okay.
And well, then, what you'll do, remember the run event is how you tell the report to update. Okay. Or there's also a filter event that can tell it to update the filtering and not rerun the entire thing, including the load. Right. So you probably want to send the filter event if you're just trying to change the filter. But there's a different event for updating that filter name value.
Yep.
Right. So that's the event you want to trigger in your on change of the input.
Yes.
For that guy.
Yes. Which is actually slightly different than the way you implemented it, right? You hit the button to trigger the filter, right?
I'm still suggesting you hit a button to apply
a
filter.
Oh, no. On change, you update the thing, and then upon the button, that's when you fire off the state machine.
Right. And you can check for the enter key, so that when you hit enter on filter, that you trigger a run, or you trigger a filter. Actually, a filter event's what you want to trigger, not a run.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, not as scary as.
Yeah, I mean, you're just all the macro does is create a standard stock, Fulcro component that happens to be associated with a state machine and happens to pre-populate some routing instructions for you.
Yeah,
that's it. From there, it's just props coming to you. Render them.
Then you're saying is it map indexed?
Yeah, if you use map indexed
for the current row, or is it filtered rows?
Yeah, so that your IDX will be 0, 1, 2, 3, that sort of thing. And then if selected row, is -1, that means nothing's selected. But if selected row is some positive number, then when that's equal, then you'd pass a prop down to the child saying you are selected.
Let's see here. So what actually sets the current row?
Like there's an event on the state machine. So again, you need to go look at the state machine and see what events are available. Go to that rad report.
Right. But my recollection is kind of in your standard table view. If you select that row in the table, that would update current the selected row.
That would change the selected row, but clicking on that just triggers an event.
Right.
The state machine already knows how to track selected row.
So the idea is that you would click something, in the card, and that would set the current row.
Or you could use your JK. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
To move selected row up and down.
So. Oh yeah, state machine.
And of course, you can count current rows to know the max range of your selected row, so your J and K shortcuts don't overrun it.
Yeah.
Although I think, there's not already an event for moving the selected row forward or back. Currently there's an event just for setting it to an absolute number.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if I did boundary checking there or not, because the built-in stuff can't possibly go past the boundaries because you couldn't click on something that isn't on the screen. But
super. Awesome. So I think, okay. I now understand at least some approaches I could do next and previous. Oh, and then presumably there's how do you, I'm guessing there's a UI state machine to set which attribute the sort is on?
Yep. There's plenty of examples of that in the existing demo.
Specifically.
Yeah. So there's basically, you just define a compare rows for anything that needs anything beyond compare.
Yeah.
And then you just set
the attribute. Yeah. Is there an example of like a drop-down box to select the attribute, or does
what do you mean to select the attribute? No, all of these in the demo use the table, and you click on the header of the table to change the sort order. But it's just triggering an event on the state machine to change which thing's sorted by and whether or not it's ascending or descending.
Right.
And then the state machine understands how to use your settings. Oh, you went through and did them all, huh?
I did them all.
What are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at rad report. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check the by again. So scan through that real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, right. Here it is. Okay, found them.
Did you find it?
Yep, event sort, event filter, and it's
oh, and I'd already written a wrapper function for them.
Right.
So you don't even have to call trigger. You can just call those helper functions.
You know, I was actually not sure if whether I should be reaching in there, but yeah, I saw they're public.
Yeah. No, you should definitely use those. That's why I wrote them. That's why we get doc strings out of it. I write a lot of stuff, so I don't remember what I've already got.
Yeah, of course.
I have to look myself. So yeah.
All right.
So there's your filter. There's your sort.
All right.
And then there's probably also one for setting a parameter. Is there? There's not.
For setting up
add one. I mean, go back to rad.report.
Yep.
You've got a helper function for sorting the rows, go to page, next page, prior page, getting the current page, getting the page count, right? So you don't have to do any of that yourself. You can just call these functions. There's a function to tell you whether or not it's loading.
Yeah.
Is there one for select row? There you go. Bam.
Right. But see
which index you want to select. Currently selected row gives you back what it currently is.
Right.
Yeah, you got it all.
Okay. Oh, set parameter. What's this?
There you go. There's the other one.
Deprecated.
Oh, deprecated. Yeah, control set parameter is really how you're supposed to do it now. But
so that's the list ID right now. Is that right?
Yes, that's list ID. Jump to control set parameter and see if it handles local. I think it handles local as well. Set parameter name value, jump to set parameter, component options, blah, blah, blah. If local, yeah, it handles it local or not. So you can do that for setting your filter as well. Set parameter colon filter name.
Local. Help me understand what that is.
So RAD supports the idea of embedding forms and reports inside of containers. And when you do that, it can push the controls that are non-local, in other words, shared among things, up to the container. When you say a control is local, it's only available to that particular form or report and will stay with it if it's embedded in other things. If it's not marked local, then it'll normalize it into a control that can be shared amongst multiple things on the screen at the same time.
Got it.
Right. So you don't have to care. You've declared it one way or the other up there, and it doesn't matter how you declared it. So you can say control set parameter colon filter name.
Yep.
In your on change of the input. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the helpers are there to let you do this from your own rendering with very little trouble.
Okay. All right. Tony, thank you. The help I needed, although this will take some time to sink in, but dazzling as usual.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, listen, have a thanks for making time for me today.
Sure.
And hey, good luck with the pies.
Thanks.
So I'll stop recording and let's